guests are already here with us in the studios, so let's begin by introducing them. First, I would like to welcome, as always, Engineer Clement Nze. He's Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. Engineer Nze, pleasure to have you again on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Also here with us in the studios, would like to welcome Professor Mansour Bako Matazu. He's the Director General of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NEMA. Prof, delighted to have you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
And from the National Emergency Management Agency, we have Alhassan Nuhu, who is the Director of Planning, Research and Forecasting, NEMA. It's a pleasure to have you this morning on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
And again, here in Abuja is another regular face on Good Morning Nigeria. He is Abbas Idris, Director General, FCT Emergency Management Agency. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
Other parts of Africa, so many countries you just mentioned, you know, that when the flood starts from those areas, you know, it comes into Nigeria and and floods Nigeria. And from all indications, there's no remedy for that, you know, because of course water has to move from one point to the other. Let me bring in Alhassan Nuhu, who is the Director of Planning, Research and Forecasting, NEMA. I'm not sure that NEMA has much to do with respect to prediction, but I can see forecasting here. In your own understanding, what are we in for? You know, the rain, we're just in July, and Chief Nze just said that between July and September, that Nigeria should be expecting heavy flooding. In your own estimation, what are we going to see?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria. We normally in NEMA work in tandem with the Climate Services Agency, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, and NISA. We provide input to their documents, and thereafter we gather committee of experts across the sectors of the economy, involving the Meteorological Agency and the Hydrological Agency, the Space Agency, and other stakeholders. We task them to digest and sift out in more clearer terms the disaster management implications of both the SCF and the AFO, which they did, and the DG unveiled it. The DG Mustafa Aviv Ahmed unveiled it on last Thursday, which clearly share and delineated responsibilities among the federal, state, and local government, and among ministries, departments, and agencies on what to do. So we are expecting from what the SCF said and AFO that there will be flooding, and we are bracing up to it. Nigeria has an elaborate response mechanism, which indicates how the various sectors will work together, the various jurisdictions will work together to ensure that should the flooding comes, what are we going to do to save lives of Nigerians and to provide the necessary succor? We have strategized to produce, to map the critical areas. The highly probable areas have been mapped. We have identified high grounds where we have evacuation centers, where we have temporary shelters if the flood comes. We have engaged the state governments to stockpile as much as NEMA has stockpiled relief materials to be able to provide immediate succor when this disaster struck. And we are also bracing, not just only flood, because the SCF has predicted that there will be below normal rainfall in some parts of the country, in areas like Zamfara, Kebbi, and Sokoto in the northwest. We are also strategizing to stockpile materials, relief materials to provide to those affected with possibly drought spell. When you have below normal rainfall, the implication is that there will be drought spell in those areas. So we are bracing for both flood and drought, and we have strategized to take actions that will prevent and mitigate this flood, to ensure that if it comes with minimal impact. But should it be around us, we are also prepared to save lives, to provide succor, and to rehabilitate those who are affected by the disaster.
All right, thank you very much, Alhassan Nuhu of NEMA. We'll return to you in the course of the conversation. Let's now bring in the Director General of the FCT Emergency Management Agency, Abbas Idris. Abbas Idris, of course, the Federal Capital Territory has been indicated as one of the mitigate the impact of flooding for this year and beyond. As we have indicated from the expert reports, 121 local government areas will be heavily impacted. Some 300 or so will be less impacted, but still they will experience some flooding. Yes, you've indicated what NEMA is doing in terms of strategies and so on and so forth, but we've always known over the years that with the exception of a few states, a number are laggards. What is changing this year in terms of their awakening to this outlook of pending disaster if nothing happens?
Yeah. Thank you very much. As we all know, every disaster is a local event. Every disaster happens in one community, in one local government, in one state. So to be able to mitigate and respond appropriately and efficiently to disaster, there has to be a system that guarantees cooperation between the federal, the state, the local government, and the communities. Each strata of government has responsibility to undertake. Just as NEMA has produced contingency plan, has a response mechanism, has trained its own stakeholders, has mapped the critical, the highly probable areas, has done contingency stockpiling, has prepared the minds of the general public. The same is expected at the state level. We have encouraged them, we have engaged them to produce their own local contingency plan, to produce, to also use the existing mappings that was done together with them, to create temporary shelters that will accommodate victims of flood disaster, and also to ginger their ministries, departments, and agencies. Of course, when flood happens, the Ministry of Health will be needed to provide drugs and medicaments. Water resources will be needed to provide water, sanitation, and hygiene. Ministries of Women Affairs will be required to provide protection for the rights of the IDP, those who are affected with the disaster. So as we are strategizing at the federal level, we are encouraging and partnering with the states to ensure that they are also prepared. We are also urging them, the states, working with them to build the capacities at the local government level. We are going beyond the 3 tiers of government to engage the communities, to use volunteers. We are using the NYC Volunteer Corps together with the state government and the local government authorities. We are using local volunteers because when emergencies happen, even a passerby has a role to play. You have to gauge, you have to prepare them for them to be able to provide. Who do they call? When you are passing by and you see a flood disaster, who do you call? What do you do immediately before the line authorities come in? The states have increasingly been bracing up to these challenges. You'll be surprised to know that states have begun to have their own contingency plans. They have begun to have their contingency stockpiling, and they are working in the area of mapping, in the area of sensitization, in the area of building, erecting temporary shelters. We are only urging them to do more, and not only the states. The line ministries, department, and agencies at the federal level, the line ministries, department, and agencies at the state level, the military, the police, the fire service, the health authorities, everybody needs to brace off this onerous responsibility. This is not a time for complacency because you have the plans, you have the infrastructures. What we need to have is vigilance to be able to save lives of Nigerians and to provide the needed succor when the disaster happens.
I'm sorry to jump in here. I mean, we've been taking on the issue of annual rainfall prediction and flooding for a number of years now. Good morning, Nigeria. But you just said something that is probably heartwarming. You said that a number of states are now beginning to develop their own response plan to mitigate this. This is heartwarming because, Kirian, if you recall, a couple of years ago on Good Morning Nigeria, we were informed that one state emergency management agency had only 2 employees, 2.
But you know, he has not given us details of this preparedness that he states, right? Because,
Well, he's not a state official. So.
Exactly, but perhaps he was talking as somebody who has detailed information
Yes.
about how the states are getting prepared for this. Because what often happens is that when the flood sets in, what we hear is disaster all over the country. No single state, even last year, 2 years ago, that comes up to say, look, like, this is what we have done to mitigate this flood. That is the point.
Well, the states definitely are not moving on the same, at the same pace.
Exactly.
But I tell you, there are states, like Niger State, I know, they have gone very far in the area of flooding. They have identified, they have even erected temporary shelter, and they move to talk to the people. Even if you can't move permanently out of these flood areas, they move them out at the critical hour before the flood comes, and then they come back. Some states are doing what is expected of them. Of course, some are lagging behind, and we are urging those that are lagging behind to brace off. But some, like Lagos State, they have done wonderful. They are doing wonderfully well in the area of flood mitigation and control. Some states are moving in the right direction. Some states are lagging behind. So what you do is to have a system. That's why we do courtesy visits, to urge those who are lagging behind to brace up to the challenges.
All right, thank you. Abbas Idris, coming here again, I do hope that FCT is not lagging behind, you know, because if he lags behind, of course, you know, it's the capital city of Nigeria, so you can't afford to do that. Now, it is inevitable that we're going to have flood. Nobody knows the extent for coming. And Alhassan Nuhu, who is the Director, Planning, Research and Forecasting, NEMA, thank you indeed for being here this morning. Abbas Idris, Director General, FCT Emergency Management Agency, we also appreciate you for sharing your thoughts with us on this edition of Good Morning Nigeria.
All right, so that's the program for today. As always, we're back tomorrow, same time, 7 in the morning. Until then, do take care of yourself. I am Kingsley Osadolo.
And I'm Kirian Umar. You do have a great day.